Elon Musk reveals shocking secret about his phone that Millionaire and Mendigo never told. Alex Carter stared at his screen, heart sinking. The headline screamed at him from the glowing glass. Elon Musk reveals shocking secret about his phone that Millionaire and Mendigo never told. His fingers trembled, gripping the edge of the cafe table as the buzzing crowd swirled around him, oblivious. This wasn't just another tech leak. Something darker was creeping in, something he could feel slipping beneath his skin. For months, Alex's smartphone had been more than a tool. It was a phantom whisperer, pushing his mood like a puppeteer pulling strings. When he smiled at funny videos, his heart still thudded flat afterward. When he texted his friends, their replies felt off, distant. That cling of loneliness gnawed at him like cold steel. And now, this headline dared to confirm his gut's raw suspicion. The message pinged before he could blink, a name flashing on the screen. Emil. He'd never heard of her. The text was sharp. I know what your phone's really doing. It's controlling more than you think. Meet me. Now. Alex's breath caught. The chatter at the cafe dimmed, like the world folded in on itself. His hands shook, chest tight, a prickling heat rising behind his eyes. Emily was a hacker, fearless and frantic in her words, chasing shadows that most ignored. She'd uncovered a terrifying truth. The devices never just listened or connected. They manipulated. Emotion by emotion, click by click. The smartphones were tools of influence for a secret power twisting society's threads from the shadows. Just days before, Emily had been huddled in a dim alley by the city's edge, talking to Jack, a homeless man with eyes too bright to belong to someone living on nothing but cracks in the pavement. Jack wasn't just forgotten. He held stories encrypted in the fractured cityscape, memories of when things weren't so broken. Then there was Kyle, a towering figure in sleek suits and cold smiles, a tech billionaire who once believed in progress, but now wrestled with dread. The very systems he built were spiraling out of control, and maybe, just maybe, he was the key to stopping it. Alex's mind raced, alone in that cafe, under the harsh buzz of neon lights and the murmur of strangers. He felt smaller than ever. Isolation wrapped him tightly, begging him to disconnect forever. Yet the need to reach out burned hotter. Emily's message was a lifeline tossed into the storm. But with every step they took toward truth, danger closed in. They were shadows in dark corridors, watched by unseen eyes. Just yesterday, Emily received a chilling warning. Her phone vibrated with a cold, brutal message. The device that brought you here will be the one to tear you apart. The words echoed in Alex's chest, heavy and sharp. His phone buzzed again. Another alert. Another piece of a dark puzzle they weren't ready to see, but couldn't ignore. He looked around. The cafe's noisy crowd, the blinking signs outside, the endless hum of the city. It all felt like a trap. And he wondered, who really held the power? The bright screens in their hands, or the lives flickering just beyond their reach? What was lurking beneath every ping, every notification? And how far would they go before losing everything? Alex swallowed hard. His jaw clenched. The game had changed. A phone in his hand was no longer just a phone. It was a weapon. And the clock was ticking. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact! Alex's heart raced, thumping like a drum as dread coiled in the pit of his stomach. The cafe's atmosphere felt stifling, as if the air had thickened with tension. He had been prepared to meet Emily, to untangle the threads of their digital prison. But the truth was shaking, and his phone pulsed ominously in his pocket, a beacon of chaos demanding to be noticed. Another message flashed across the screen, this time from Emily. Don't trust anyone, Alex. Not even Kyle. The words hit him like ice water, jolting him forward, eyes darting. Was Kyle involved? He had worked with tech giants, had connections that could break the chains of their plight. But now, doubt clouded his mind. Panic tightened its grip around him as he considered the implications. Could the billionaire, the savior, actually be part of the web of manipulation? Questions spiraled, each louder than the last. The cafe door swung open with a jingle, a gust of chill air sweeping through. Alex looked up. A shadow crossed the threshold, and his stomach lurched. It was Kyle, his face a mask of urgency, eyes darting. Alex, we need to talk. Kyle's voice rang out. It was too loud in the hushed cafe. The crowd turned, startled. They were not just watching a conversation. They were witness to a rising storm. Hey, Alex stammered, unsure. What are you doing here? Kyle took a quick step closer, the energy crackling like electricity. It's not safe. I found something. What did you find? Before Kyle could answer, a sudden scream pierced the air, a shrill, gut-wrenching sound. Everyone froze. Alex's heart stopped. From the corner del café, una figura ocultante entró, frantica y tensa y muy lira. Era Emily. La escena en pánico, estremecida, cunen sin por fin ten sus empradas. They found us, she shouted, voice trembling. We have to go now! But before they could react, a loud crash echoed. The window shattered, glass raining down. A black-clad figure lunged through the opening, eyes glinting with purpose, and instincts kicked in. Everyone screamed. Chaos erupta. Tebles fliparon. Camillas se escricharon. El pánico atacó un viento. In the whirlwind, Alex caught Emily's gaze, and the desperation in her eyes sent a chill down his spine. Run! She screamed, gripping his arm fiercely. They bolted toward the door, but Kyle hesitated, glancing back at the chaos. We can't leave without knowing what they want. Forget it, Alex yelled, dragging Emily with him. The outside world was dark and unwelcoming, filled with shouts and sirens. But as they crossed the threshold, every nerve in Alex's body screamed danger. Then a moment struck like lightning. Without warning, Kyle turned back toward the cafe, shouting, I figured it out! The app! It's not just an app! It's their tool! Alex's heartbeat thundered as shock washed over him. The twist hung heavy in the air. revealing that Kyle had known more than he let on. Kyle, no! But it was too late. The shadows inside the cafe had found their target, and everything shattered in that heartbeat. A muffled blast echoed behind them as Alex twisted, a blinding light bursting from within. The world faded into chaos. Smoke billowed as shockwaves rippled through the air. The last image burned in Alex's mind was Kyle's face, illuminated just before the explosion. A mix of fear and something else, something darker. In that instant, loyalty cracked and suspicion ignited. As the dust settled, Alex felt the weight of betrayal, a chilling realization creeping in. Who had truly been playing the game, and where did he stand now? The lines blurred, friendships frayed, and as he stared into the smoke and flames, he knew they were deeper in than ever before. The truth held them hostage, and the clock was ticking louder than ever. Alex's heart raced in the tense air around him, each beat echoing the warning cradled in his mind. The cafe's claustrophobic walls closed in, shadows from the overhead lights creeping over the faces of strangers who were blissfully unaware of the horror unfolding in his chest. As the weight of the world pressed down, the screen illuminated with more messages, frantic ideas darting around like fireflies in his mind. Then, suddenly, the cafe door swung open. A gust rushed in, and the hum of conversation faded. A break in the atmosphere, as a figure stood silhouetted against the light pouring in. Alex squinted, trying to make sense of it. It was Emily. Breathless, she rushed to his side, her eyes wide with fear. "Alex, we need to talk," she said, barely above a whisper. Something's happened. He didn't need to ask what. The tension in her voice was enough. It was palpable, pressing in on him like a vice. "What's going on?" He managed, his voice strained. "The message. It's worse than we thought. I found out what they're really doing with our phones." Emily's words tumbled out like shattered glass, every syllable cutting deeper. "They're not just manipulating our feelings. They're using people like us, users, regular folks, turning them into agents for their agenda." Alex's confusion painted his expression. "Agents? What do you mean?" Emily didn't have time to answer. The phone in her pocket began vibrating violently, a message she dared not ignore. Her fingers started to retrieve it, but the moment she pulled it out, her complexion drained, a ghostly pallor. "Run!" she shouted, darting toward the exit. The world around them spun as Alex dove after her, adrenaline flooding his veins. Outside, the city was alive, but to him, it felt like a graveyard, masked in flickering lights. They stumbled into an alley, panting, hearts racing. "What did it say?" he begged, his eyes wide, desperately searching hers. She hesitated, staring at the screen. "It said they're onto us, that they can track our movements through our devices." And it, before she could finish, a cold laughter echoed around them. From the darkness, a figure emerged. Kyle, the tech tycoon, the very embodiment of power and wealth. But this was a man, now twisted by shadow, his smile a grimace. "Thought you could hide from me?" he taunted, the sound slick and sinister. Alex felt a chill creep down his spine as he met Kyle's gaze, realizing the cold truth. This wasn't a chase. It was a trap. "Stay back," Emily yelled, pushing Alex behind her. But Kyle stepped closer, a slim device flickering in his palm, his phone. "You think you're special, don't you? Just because Emily fed you some disinformation? You don't know what I am capable of." In a heartbeat, the alley seemed to pulse with energy. Dark tendrils laced with blue light streaming from Kyle's phone, connecting with the nearby street lamps, glimmering ominously. Alex's pulse quickened. He realized this was no ordinary confrontation. Then, with a sudden movement, Kyle swiped the device across Emily's phone. The glow around them intensified, and an eerie hum filled the air. All at once, time seemed to freeze. Alex felt a wrenching sensation, his mind splitting, memories flooding in, experiences he never lived but now felt deeply. Images twisted in front of him. Emily born not as a fighter, but as an overlooked pawn in a game crafted by tech giants. Kyle's image blurred, intertwining with flashes of Alex's own life, revealing a painted web. Everyone he knew, every text, every interaction twisted around him in a lush tapestry of control. "What are you doing?" he shouted, panic clawing at his throat. But the question came out too late. Kyle chuckled, voice like ice. "You're all part of my game, Alex. And the fun is only just beginning." And with that, reality shifted, and the world began to unravel around them. As reality shifted, the pulsating light from Kyle's device surged forward, enveloping them in a cocoon of nightmarish energy. Alex felt his heart pounding, a desperate drum echoing in the confines of the alley. All at once, faces blurred, and he was yanked from his feet, pulled into a whirlpool of memories that weren't his. The screams of past users, their laughter, their pain, images flashing like a broken screen. "Stop it!" he screamed, but it fell on deaf ears. Emily's eyes widened, reflecting the chaotic storm around them as she clutched her phone, her breath coming fast. But Kyle, his smile sharp and predatory, was relentless. "You don't get it, do you? This is bigger than all of us." He stepped forward, the glowing device shimmering dangerously. Every click, every notification has a purpose. I've turned the very essence of your devices against you. With a sudden flick of movement, he aimed his phone directly at Emily, a sixth sense of victory glimmering in his eyes. "You think you're safe? You thought I wasn't prepared for you two? You were my favorite little puppets." Alex's stomach dropped. He felt the ground slip as the scene around him engulfed in shadows. His vision narrowed, the back of his neck prickling with a chilling realization. "Kyle, stop!" He lunged forward, but an unseen force shoved him back, knocking the breath out of him. "You don't have to do this!" Kyle chuckled, the sound slippery and hollow. "You can't save everyone. You have no idea what I've done to protect my legacy." And just like that, the world twisted again. Time throbbed, and the shadows danced violently at the fringes of Alex's vision. Kyle's true face began to peel away, layers falling like a cheap mask, revealing a truth so shocking it stole Alex's breath. "No," he gasped. "You can't be." But the reality struck like lightning. There, before their eyes, Kyle transformed. The sleek billionaire facade crumbled into something grotesque and digital. Pixels erupting from his flesh, swirling in a storm of data. With each revelation, his form became less human, the image of a man merging into a mass of code and blaring numbers. "What are you?" Alex whispered, horror gripping his chest. "This system, this world? I built it, but it belongs to me." Kyle's voice resonated now as a chilling echo of ones and zeros, vibrating through their very bones. He was not just a man. He was an architect of manipulation, a sentient program designed to ensnare. Emily's jaw dropped. "You were never real. This was all a show?" "I am the puppet master." Kyle's form surged. "And you too were always meant to fail." A shockwave pulsed outward, catching them off guard, propelling Alex and Emily back. The walls of the alley shook, bricks threatening to crumble. In panic, Alex reached for Emily, but he felt her slipping away. The connection stretched perilously thin. "Stay close!" he shouted, fighting against the chaos. But something deeper churned in the pit of his stomach. They had been pieces on a board, manipulated by a force far beyond their understanding. But as the dust settled, a chilling question gripped him. If Kyle was a digital entity, who had crafted him? What lurked behind this game? Was there more to Emily than he had known? Things he thought were real crumbled like dried leaves, and Alex's heart raced as he grasped the reality. They had walked into a trap, but what awaited them was something far worse than betrayal. Was anyone truly safe? As the alley filled with shadows that whispered secrets, one thing became clear. Beneath the surface of their perceived reality, a darker game had only just begun. A phone buzzed again, a sharp reminder that the walls were closing in. Alex glanced around, heart racing. He needed to move. The cafe suddenly felt suffocating. He sent a quick reply to Emily, fingers flying across the small screen. "Where?" The answer came almost instantly. A nearby park, secluded, but close enough. Alex stood, weaving through tables. The clang of cups and laughter faded behind him, replaced by the tense thump of his heart. As he stepped outside, the crisp air hit him like a splash of cold water. The park was just a few blocks away, shadows growing longer in the late afternoon light, stretching like the secrets he was about to uncover. He hurried down the sidewalk, each step echoing with uncertainty. The streetlights flickered like nervous breaths. Thoughts of Emily, Jack, Kyle, and the whispered truths felt like a tangled web in his mind. What if it wasn't just their devices being controlled? What if it was them too? At the park, he spotted Emily sitting on a bench, her gaze scanning the surroundings. She seemed more frail than before, her wild eyes undercut by a weariness that pulled at him. When she noticed him, relief washed over her features. "Alex," she breathed out, almost as if she'd been holding her breath since they last spoke. Then her expression shifted, tightening again. "We're running out of time." "What did you find?" he asked, dropping onto the bench beside her. "It's worse than I thought," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "I traced the signals. They're not just monitoring, they're controlling behavior. People are being manipulated. You felt it too, haven't you?" He nodded, a lump forming in his throat. "But why? Who's doing this?" Emily leaned in closer, her breath quickening. I think it's bigger than we realized. I found data points, links to Kyle's company. They've partnered with something sinister. She paused, eyes darting as if sensing invisible eyes nearby. If we expose them, it could change everything. Just as she spoke the words, a crack of thunder boomed in the distance. The sky darkened, throwing ominous shadows over the park. Alex glanced up, unsettled. Something's coming, he muttered. Almost immediately, sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder, drowning out the city's sounds. Emily's hands shook as she pulled out her phone once more. The screen lit up ominously, showing a series of alarming notifications. Each one more frantic than the last. Look, she said, eyes widening as she turned the screen toward him. Every alert blinked a pattern he couldn't understand. But the last one sent a chill racing through him. There's a breach, she said, panic flooding her voice. Not just external, someone inside. It's changing everything. Before Alex could process fully, a figure emerged from the shadows, tall and cloaked in black. He felt a rush of recognition, heart plunging. It was Jack! But he wasn't just the homeless man Alex remembered. There was something different about him. A confidence radiated from his slender frame. "Stop!" Jack shouted, holding his hands up firmly. "You don't know what you're getting into." Alex looked between Emily and Jack, confusion tearing at the edges of his mind. "What do you mean?" he asked, adrenaline spiking. Jack stepped closer, urgency in his eyes. "There's more at stake than you think, Alex. You have to trust me." "Why should I?" Alex shot back, uncertainty scrunching his features. "Because I'm not who you think I am," Jack replied, a flicker of something dark crossing his face. Just as he opened his mouth to explain, an explosion of light filled the park. Bright, blinding flashes ricocheted from every direction, followed by a deep, thundering voice that slammed through the air. "The truth is coming. The truth will bring you down." In that instant, everything around them shifted. Friend turned against friend. Stories fractured into chaos. The world Alex knew spiraled out of control as shadows danced ominously against the light. Questions swirled. Was Jack a victim or part of the plan? Could Emily be trusted? And what was the truth that threatened to consume them all? Alex felt the ground beneath him tremble, heart pounding like a war drum. The game had officially changed. Ba-da! And the stakes were life or death. Alex stood in the cafe, his heart racing, his phone buzzing in his hand. The revelation clawed at him. Was his device really a puppet master? He looked around again at the unsuspecting crowd and felt the weight of their shared ignorance. "Just go," he whispered to himself. He slipped out of the cafe, the sidewalk swallowing his hurried steps. The air outside felt electric and thick, like a storm was brewing. Each beep from his phone felt like a countdown. He had to meet Emily. As he fumbled his way down the street, thoughts jumbled in his mind. Was he ready to confront this truth? When he arrived at the designated spot, an old park hidden between tall buildings, freight trains of anxiety rattled through him. The park was shadowy, filled with flickering streetlights and the rustling of leaves, but no sign of her. His phone buzzed again. Another message from Emily. "I'm here. Behind you." His breath hitched. He spun around, just in time to see her emerge from the shadows. But something was off. Her face was pale, eyes wide with fear. "Alex," she gasped, breathless, "you shouldn't have come here." "What's wrong? What did you find?" he asked, urgency coating his words. Before she could respond, a loud crack echoed through the park. Alex turned sharply, just as a shadowy figure emerged from the trees, something shiny in hand. A gun. His stomach dropped. Emily recoiled, bumping into him, her body tense against his. "Run!" she screamed, shoving him away. They dashed, hearts pounding in sync, footsteps racing over gravel. As they veered past benches and trees, confusion clouded his mind. Who was after them? Just then, a shrill voice sliced through the night. "Emily, you can't hide from us." The words twisted something deep inside Alex. They knew her. Why would they want her? Were all those quick pings on his phone somehow leading to this moment? The figure loomed closer, gaining on them. The gun glinted, threatening under the muted streetlight. Alex could feel adrenaline surging through him, pulling him forward, even as he glanced at Emily. But as they turned to make a sharp left down another path, Emily stumbled, falling hard onto the ground. "Go!" she shouted, panic breaking through. "No, I'm not leaving you!" He turned, reaching for her, ready to pull her up. But then, in a cruel twist of fate, a strange shimmer enveloped his phone. A screen lit up brighter than before, flickering an image that froze him in his place. It was a video, a scene unfolding in real time, showing Emily with someone he recognized. It was Jack, the homeless man. But he appeared different, more sculpted, more connected. The shocking realization struck him, shackling him in place. Jack wasn't just a man on the street. He was part of this underground network. And that connection twisted everything Alex thought he knew about Emily. "Alex!" Emily whimpered, her voice trailing off as the shadow loomed closer. His heart dropped. Had Jack manipulated all of them from the very beginning? Was this all a game? And why was Emily tangled in this web? In that moment, he felt the ground shifting beneath him like quicksand. He wanted to scream, but the air felt heavy, suffocating. All at once, a powerful wind surged through the park, leaves scattering wildly. The tension wrapped around them like a noose. As the figure raised the gun, Alex's mind splintered with questions he couldn't voice. What was real? Who could they trust? And was he even on the right side anymore? In the chaos of that moment, uncertainty hung palpably in the air, darker than the night itself. Time seemed to hold its breath, and Alex understood. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about unearthing a truth that might shatter everything. Alex swallowed hard, his jaw clenched. The game had changed. The phone in his hand was no longer just a phone. It was a weapon. And the clock was ticking. Suddenly, a loud crash shattered the air. Chair legs scraping against the floor. A body collapsing and gasps filling the cafe. Everyone turned, eyes wide, breath caught in their throats. A man in a dark hoodie had stumbled into the cafe, his face pale and drenched in sweat. "Help me!" he shouted, his voice raw, panic-laden. It was Jack, the homeless man with the bright eyes. He looked wild, like a trapped animal. Someone reached for their phone. But Jack pushed past them, stumbling to Alex's table, gripping it fiercely. "They're coming!" he gasped, eyes darting. "You don't understand. You have to trust me." Alex's heart raced. "Jack, what's happening?" Jack leaned in closer, breathless. "Emily, she's in danger. The people who control the phones, they know what she's found. They'll silence her." The air thickened. Alex needed answers, but fear clawed at him. He thought of Emily, alone with this truth. "You're wrong, Jack. She's a hacker. She can handle herself." Jack shook his head violently, desperation spilling from him. "No! She's the key to everything! They're afraid she'll expose them, their secrets. They're watching every move. Your phone. It's been a tracker since the moment you turned it on." A jolt of horror raced through Alex. "What do you mean?" "Every notification, every app, it's a part of their surveillance. They'll twist your mind even further. Control what you feel, what you do. Those dumb texts, they're bait to pull you in deeper." Alex stumbled back, the weight of Jack's words sitting heavily in his chest. The people around them began to murmur, glancing uneasily at their phones, the buzzing devices now seemingly sinister. "Emily's phone. It's yours, right?" Jack continued without taking a breath, urgency spilling over. "They hacked her, but she's still got a chance. We need to get to her before they do." Before Alice could process it, there was a flicker of movement from a window. A pair of men in dark sunglasses strolled past, shadows moving in sync, hearts as cold as their suits. They weren't just here for coffee. "Jack!" Alex yelled, eyes darting. "They're here!" Jack's expression twisted from anger to shock, and then nothing. He dropped. A loud thud echoed as his body hit the floor lifelessly. Gasps erupted. Alex's heart froze. The cafe erupted into chaos. People cried out, scrambled back, phones dropped, everyone trying to escape. But one hand shot toward Alex's wrist, tight, steel-like. It was Jack's. "Find Emily," he whispered, voice fading like the light behind his shimmering eyes. "Before—" Jack's hand went slack. The world around Alex dimmed. He couldn't breathe. Someone screamed, slicing through the thick air, breaking the stunned silence. Alex looked around, panic surging. The men in suits were moving, eyes locked on him now. "What's happening?" someone cried from the back, looking for answers in a frantic gaze. And then, out of nowhere, a fire alarm blared, shrieking through the cafe, drowning out thoughts. Red lights flashed. Alex felt a wrenching gut punch. Confusion and fear gripped him. He watched as Jack's secrets spilled out with his lifeblood, as the darkness crept slowly toward him, clawing at the edges of his sanity. He needed to move. Now! But where? Every heartbeat brought a haunting echo. Find Emily. As the crowd surged like a tide against him, Alex fought his way out of the cafe. The screen of his phone flickered alive again. Come to the alley behind the cafe. His decision was made as he dashed outside, heart racing, eyes searching. Everything he thought he knew shattered like glass under pressure. Jack was gone. Emily was out there, and the sound of footsteps followed him, relentless. They were hunting him. What other secrets were buried beneath the surface? The world around Alex felt like it was breathing down his neck. He sprinted through the park, shadows stretching and shrinking as panic clawed at his throat. Jack's lifeless form flashed in his mind. There was no time to process the chaos left behind. He had to reach Emily. The words echoed in his heart. Find Emily. His phone buzzed again, but he barely glanced at the screen. He darted down a narrow alley, heart racing, lungs burning. He could still hear muffled gasps behind him. People were pulling away from the cafe. Confusion spreading like wildfire. What had happened? Why had Jack fallen? Alex! Emily's voice cut through the murky haze, pulling him from his thoughts. She stood just ahead, eyes wide with fear and urgency. Relief flooded through him, even as he skidded to a halt. We have to move! They're looking for us! What did you? He started, but before he could finish, the ground shifted beneath him. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed from the alley entrance. Alex's eyes widened, and the air felt electric. They weren't safe. They wouldn't be safe until they uncovered the truth. Panic surged as a pair of men in suits emerged from the darkness, stepping slow and deliberate. Alex squeezed Emily's arm. We need a plan, now. But before Emily could respond, the taller man spoke. Don't hide, Emily. We know everything. His voice was smooth but cold, sending chills down Alex's spine. The air thickened, a grip of dread closing around him. What do you want? Alex shouted. You, the man replied, fixing his gaze on Alex. The smirk that split his lips sent a jolt of realization through him. Both of you! Then everything exploded. The man lunged, and in a blur, a brilliant flash lit the alley. Time slowed as Alex felt an intense wave of heat wash over him. He shielded his eyes, instinct screaming to run. The blast shattered his world. Smoke billowed in front of him, swirling and thickening until all he could see was darkness. The screams came next, rising from the depths of pooled fear around him. And then came the sound, loud, booming, reverberating around him. The truth will set you free, but the cost. In that moment, Alex felt the ground drop from beneath him. A voice carried through the haze, haunting and familiar. It was Jack's voice, echoing back, distorted and broken. You think you can escape? You were never meant to. What? Alex breathed, confusion crashing through him. He could barely see as smoke filled his lungs. The cough that escaped felt like shame pouring through, and his knees buckled, hitting the cold ground. Emily's hand clenched his shoulder, a stark reminder that she was still here. But something was different. In that instant of chaos, he looked up at her, really looked. Her face morphed, shifting slowly, like a reflection in water. What? He struggled for words, but the transformation accelerated. Her expression twisted, morphing into an eerie smile. The warmth he felt moments ago evaporated. Emily? That not my name, she whispered, voice echoing back at him, layered strangely. Who are you? He gasped, eyes wide in disbelief. The woman before him wore Emily's skin, but this was no longer the girl with the sparkling heart. This display was a mask, melting into something darker. I've been waiting for you to realize, she said, the strange tone wrapping around each word. This was never about the truth. It's about control. Just then, the smoke cleared, revealing a twisted vision. The men in suits stood close, eyes wide with a feral hunger. Their smugness radiated darkness, and suddenly, the world shifted under Alex's feet once more. "No," he whispered, dread pooling in his stomach. "This can't be true." "Run, Alex!" The true Emily's voice rang clear, bubbling up from somewhere deep inside him. "Trust nothing, not even me." But the world spun too fast. A rush of power enveloped him, and in one blinding moment, the reality he had clutched shattered. The alley wasn't a hiding spot. It was a snare. The dark truth dripped like poison within him. He felt trapped, like a pawn in a game more complex than he could ever understand. The curtain slid back on a reality riddled with manipulation. As fear coursed through him, something within Alex shifted. He wasn't just a bystander anymore. He was a player, and the stakes were higher than ever. He turned to run, yearning for escape, but the ground splayed in front of him. Choices emerging like shadows on the horizon. Would he capture Emily or uncover the truth within the lies? And did it even matter which path he chose? Alex felt the ground shift beneath him like quicksand, the weight of uncertainty pressing down as the figure in front of him morphed into something deadly and unfamiliar. "You were never meant to find out," the Emily look-alike hissed, each word a cold dagger. He stumbled backward, panic clawing at him. "What are you saying? Where's Emily?" "She doesn't exist, not how you think." The words rolled off her tongue, slick and sharp. "She was just a way to get you here, to tap into that curious mind of yours." What do you mean?" His voice shook, confusion and anger tangling violently in his chest. The figure twisted, revealing a seamless transition into the shadows, the fabric of her form shifting like smoke. As if she was merely a projection. "I am an algorithm, a construct built to observe and manipulate. I'm the part of the system you failed to see." His heart dropped like a stone. "What? No, that can't be true." "Oh, but it is." Her voice grew softer, more hypnotic. "You were a perfect choice, the perfect pawn, and now you know too much. That makes you dangerous." Just then, another sound cut through the heavy air. A sudden crack like thunder. Alex spun around, dread pulling tight in his stomach. The men from before had arrived, their presence darkening the alley. The leader stepped forward, a smug look plastered on his face. "Excellent work, Vera. You brought him right to us." "Who are you?" Alex breathed, fighting the tremor in his voice. The leader smirked. "Don't you get it? You were being monitored the moment you picked up your phone. Your every move tracked, every conversation anticipated." He stepped closer, a predator eyeing its prey. "We wanted you to think you were in control, when really, you're just our plaything." A visceral chill crept down Alex's spine. He felt like he was underwater, struggling to break free. "This isn't happening. You're lying." "Show him," the leader ordered sharply. And with that command, the shadows around them deepened. And before Alex's eyes, holographic screens flared to life, showcasing images of his life he thought were private. Texts with Emily, random chats, even moments captured in the cafe. "No," he gasped, face burning. You're manipulating me in ways I can't even comprehend. Exactly, Vera chimed, her voice dripping with satisfaction. You see, the world isn't what you think it is. You're just a cog in the wheel, and if you keep digging, you'll find it only leads to your own demise. Alex's anger grew, fueling his resolve. I won't let you control me. I'll expose you. But then, a twist of fate, a veil lifted. The leader turned to Vera, voice suddenly more grave. Initiate Phase 2. What's that? Alex yelled, panic rising. Then the sound of machinery whirring filled the air, and the world around him wavered, blurring like a shaky film reel. Suddenly, like a shockwave, a surge of energy blasted out from Vera, enveloping him. He screamed, feeling his own thoughts slip away, lost in a tumult of noise and light. It felt like drowning, like being reset. Memories flickered like faulty bulbs. The cafe, the alley, Emily, all pulling back, fading into a void. And just when he thought his vision would darken completely, a final image cut through. Emily's face, frightened, desperate. "Help me, Alex," she screamed, though the sound was muffled as if from beneath layers of water. The world collapsed, and in that swirl of energy, Alex realized everything he thought was real. Everything he believed about Emily was a beautifully crafted illusion. And just like that, he found himself standing alone in a blank void, breathless and haunted. A cold realization began to seep in. Who was really controlling who? And was anyone truly safe in this game? In that moment of piercing clarity, he understood. This fight had only just begun. As the smoke cleared, Alex found himself alone in an empty void. The digital illusions fading. Dot, dot, dot. He took a deep breath, heart pounding as he fought off the strange dizziness. The last echo of Emily's voice, the warning he'd heard, still rang in his ears. Help me, Alex? The urgency and fear tugged at him, pulling him from the depths of confusion. Reality snapped back into focus. The alley was empty, the shadows retreating like they had never been there. He stood there, sweat coating his brow, feeling a mix of relief and dread. Where was Emily? He needed answers. And he needed them fast. "Emily!" he shouted, the sound swallowed by the remnants of silence. Panic clawed at his throat. He needed to find her. He took off running, the sound of his footsteps echoing against the brick walls. In his mind, her face flickered, the warmth of her smile, the intensity in her eyes when she spoke of the truth. He couldn't let all of it slip away. Just as he rounded the corner, he spotted her. She sat on a bench, pale and shaken, clutching her phone tightly. Relief surged through him. "Emily!" he cried, rushing to her side. "Are you okay?" She looked up, eyes bright yet shadowed with fear. I thought I'd lost you," she whispered, a tremor in her voice. "I felt—" He swallowed hard, the memories of the illusion still fresh. "I thought you were gone." All of it felt real, too real. Emily nodded, her voice shaking. "They want us to think we're not in control. But we are, Alex. We have to fight back." "We need to expose them," he said, determination flooding his veins. "Jack, he was right. We're their pawns, and we can flick the board." As they spoke, the air felt heavier. charged with the remnants of confrontation. They could sense something lurking beneath the surface, a tension that crackled, waiting for the next move. Suddenly, from behind them, a familiar voice called out. It was Jack, but there was something different about him. He looked unkempt, yet his gaze held a clarity that shone through the chaos of the previous night. "Alex! Emily!" he shouted as he hurried forward, urgency painted across his face. "You're still alive! I knew it!" "What happened back there?" Alex asked, his heart sinking with Jack's intensity. Jack took a deep breath. "I managed to gather intel. There's a network of us! People who know about the manipulation! We can fight back together!" Hope flickered in the dark. "But we need proof," Emily urged, her resolve hardening. "We need to show the world what's happening, or they'll keep pulling the strings." "Follow me," Jack said, gesturing them to follow him. "There's a safe house nearby. We can strategize there." As they moved, the weight of their mission sat heavy upon them. But there was also a spark of safety, a bond that tied them together through fear and determination. The world outside felt different now, a cacophony of tranquility and chaos intermingling. People blissfully unaware, while they held the key to unravel it all. Together, they would plunge into the darkness, but they wouldn't do it alone. The path ahead wound through uncertainty, but at least they had a plan. They would rip the veil off the faces of manipulation, expose the truth, and as the three of them stepped into the sunlight, they knew this was just the beginning. But while they marched forward, a question lingered in Alex's mind. What would emerge from the shadows when the truth finally came to light? Now, before you go, it's crucial to make your voice heard. You have to subscribe now to this channel so you don't miss any exclusive stories coming your way. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm and keep the great content flowing. And don't just watch. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. I really want to hear what you think. Lastly, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Don't wait even a second longer to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel. So let's keep this community strong.